Hey, it's Tiffany here, and thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be about my healing journey. This is episode 2, and I just want to say thank you for being here with me. If you've listened to the first episode, I really did not know where to start. A lot of my words are just kind of jumbling, but hopefully I can be a little bit more clear today on what I want to share with you guys, what just kind of came up to the surface of my heart today when I turned on the camera. And I want to talk about, you know, trust. And that has been such a big thing for me where I just could not trust anyone. And the only person I felt that I could trust is myself. And before I really go into it, I'm going to be doing my makeup. I'm not going to be talking about my makeup, just going to apply it and we're just going to talk. And so I'll be getting ready. Um, when I really think about this trust issue, a lot of it would really surface with the relationships that I had, especially romantic relationships. When I think about those relationships, I needed to be in control because I was afraid of what the outcome could be, or I was afraid that I didn't know what to expect. And when I think about just where this all rooted from, the first man in my life that I loved is my dad. And I love him so much. He is an amazing man. He is just such a pure soul. But there's more to it that I did not understand when I was younger. So obviously when you have a father or father figure, you want to just fully feel protected and feel like you can lean on them, you can trust them. And with my father, even though he loved with his whole heart, he actually did not know how to love. And I will tell you a little bit of his backstory of what I have learned later on, because before I didn't understand why he was unable to be present, unable to show and express the love that I felt that I needed from him. I'm gonna go ahead and start my makeup. While that's happening, I'm gonna go ahead and just apply some makeup. So my father, he was born during the Korean War, and North and South Korea were going through this war, and about to, a lot of people were separated, lost their family. My father, he lost both of his parents during the war. And during that time, can you imagine you being very young and not knowing who your parents are? They passed away. And not only that, even though there is family, and you would hope that family would just take him in and take care of them like their own, that did not happen for him. So he pretty much was an orphan growing up. He does have a sister. She has already passed this past year, which was also really heartbreaking. And yeah, like that was his only family that he knew. And even then, she was older and she had her own path in her life. So my dad was literally lone wolf and grew up and had to raise himself and was influenced by the people around him. And luckily, the thing I believe and truly believe he is healthy and alive today is that he had a passion for soccer. So that literally has kept him alive. My dad is a smoker. A lot of Korean men smoke. A lot of Korean men drink. He was an alcoholic most of his life. And when I was younger, I did not understand that, of course, right? And so now knowing as an adult kind of his backstory, because this was hidden. A lot of Asian families, especially Korean families, are very, very hush-hush about anything that's negative, anything that's kind of not, something they're proud of. So this was hidden from me, my sister, and my brother for many, many years until I became an adult. And so I did not understand my dad. I was very angry at my dad. I was very resentful to my dad because of his inability to express himself, his inability to love me the way that I thought he should love me. and his inability of having self-control with alcohol and smoking or whatever else he may have like done. That was something that I witnessed as the youngest child, being super like just furious about it and just wondering, why is my dad so out of control? Why is he not stepping up and protecting us and showing us this and that and whatever that I had in my mind that he should do? This is all my perception, not knowing really his story, not knowing his pain, not knowing what he had to go through. And so as a little kid, a little child, of course, not knowing. So I give myself a lot of grace and just love to myself now, just like, oh, you didn't know. Of course you didn't know. You're just a child. You just are seeking love. You want love from your parents. And yeah, it was just difficult. And I have an older brother, older sister. We're all like 2 years apart, and so we're pretty close in age. And older sister, she's a little bit more shy and quiet. My brother's also pretty quiet. I was pretty quiet, but now I feel like I'm very expressive and very vocal about something I don't believe in or something. And I think that kind of happened because of just feeling like I had this role that I needed to protect my family, that I needed to take the lead. I needed to make sure that things were okay and safe because of all the chaos that I felt that was in my world at the time. So that's a little backstory, and maybe I'll share deeper, but I think that's enough to kind of really give you guys a little understanding of me as a child and me and my perspective of the man that I feel my first love for a man, my father, and just my perception on that and how this truly unraveled into the rest of my life and the men that I would choose and the way that I would be in these romantic relationships were just later, as I am here now, I'm like starting to understand, like, oh my gosh, like these patterns, these cycles, these responses, this expectation, or the hurt that I have, my core wound, just so many things just make so much more sense now. So I have a lot of trust issues, especially with the opposite partner, with my romantic partner. Now just going backwards, I mean, I'm not going to talk about like my first love or just like the people that I've dated, but really just I was married before. I was married when I turned, I believe, 31, somewhere around there. And, my ex-husband is such a wonderful person. I knew him before as a friend and always thought very highly of him, really opposite of me, which I found very, very attractive because I was like, oh, he's, very quiet, put together, calm. And I like that about him because he's opposite. And also that really kind of, because of my dad being so chaotic, I was looking for something like very simple, very like where I just knew what to expect, where I felt safe. And because he was so calm and collected and very easy to, I knew what to expect out of him. I had no fear. And so I know that my attraction towards him was definitely because I felt, okay, this is not like my dad. He's very calm and collected, and I can feel safe. And I know that my path and my, even though we're not together in that way, I know that I was meant to be connected to him, to have my beautiful daughter, Kira, and he is the best co-parent that I could ever ask for. Like, I'm so grateful. He's the most amazing dad as well. Very grateful for that. But unfortunately, him and I really just didn't know how to communicate. We really didn't know how to really be the best in each other's lives, and it just didn't match. And also because of all my deep wounds, deep pains, all that was projecting onto him. He was probably like, what the heck? Who is this girl? Why is she? So there, he had to deal with so much that I brought to the table that I didn't even know at the time that this is what I was giving. And I mean, now that I look at it, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, sorry, I apologize. Like, I didn't mean to. And I was really naive that I did not know that I had all this trauma. So this is kind of where pre-awakening of what I didn't know, that all the trauma that I had, because I was like really naive and thinking like, oh, just accept my life and, um, you know, work hard. This is what I was dealt with, and be grateful. So I didn't really think deeper because nobody in my family has done any deep personal development or deep work and healing themselves. That's not our generation, or at least my parents' generation. That is not even talked about. And asking for help and seeking for help is definitely just out of the picture. So this is very new territory. I didn't really know what I was like seeking and, feeling a void in my heart. But I knew that I was not happy and something's not right within me. And this started making me wake up of just like, wow, all my energy and efforts were put into loving somebody else, whether it was my friends, my family, my clients, romantic partners, my kids. Like, all of that was great, and it's good that I'm able to give people love and support and whatever it is. But I wasn't giving that to myself. I was the last person that I would attend to, and that really eventually just showed up. And I was just, I felt very exhausted and depleted and unnourished in so many levels that I think I was just like, what am I doing? I can't keep going like this. I can't keep giving myself up. And I'll share that story with you on kind of some of the big things that I had to give up during that time in my life. And I was like, I felt lost, very, very, very lost. But I still kept going through because I was like, I just got to keep going because I don't know what else to do, but just to keep going and I'll figure it out. That's kind of like the way that I've always been. Like, I just figure things out, and I feel very grateful and blessed that everything works out in its own way. And so that was kind of a big awakening moment of just knowing that I wasn't loving myself and I was neglecting myself. And it happens. I mean, I think it's super common, and especially in my culture, for women to neglect themselves and to focus on everybody else but them. And that is not okay. I do not wish that on anyone. I don't, I want my daughters to always take care of themselves first, because I honestly believe no one is going to take care of you the way that you're supposed to be taken care of. Like, truly, nobody knows the deep-rooted things that you need, your internal, whatever you're going through inside. And of course, some of us are not aware of that either. But once I think you even tap into it, or, have a curiosity, things start, unraveling and get revealed. And so that's kind of where I think things started to happen, where just this unhappiness and things not kind of working out as easily or effectively. And, I was just kind of like, wow, what is going on? Why do I feel so empty? Why do I feel like everything I've worked hard for is not like, usually when you work hard for something, it pays off. And that's kind of where I was super confused in my life. During that time in my life, when I got married, I also, let's go backwards. I was actually pregnant first, and then we decided to get married, and this was very much rushed. It wasn't one of those like, oh, I want to marry you. It was like, okay, you have a baby, we got to do the right thing, and like, our culture, get married so that we don't, disrespect the family, embarrass the family, whatever, you want to call it. And we decided to get married. And of course, in my heart, like, I really loved this man. And I was like, yeah, I want to marry this man and I want to raise a family. I don't know if it was reciprocated. I can't speak for him, but I really don't feel like he was ready to do that. And that's okay. But I was like, we still went along with it. And I was like, even if, he doesn't, or right now, or maybe he doesn't know, he wasn't really good at expressing his feelings. So I just kind of believe that he would eventually, or he obviously cares about me and loves me, but I don't know if it was like that deep, passionate love that you wish and hope for. And so anyways, this is kind of where a lot of the trust issues kind of started coming into my mind of like, does he really love me? Is he just being with me because I'm pregnant with his child? Does he feel guilty? There were so many things that were going on that internally of myself. And I think because of this lack of trust, this lack of just knowing who I am, knowing what I deserve, loving myself, this insecurity of trust just kind of kept pushing and pushing. I was testing him. I was definitely, doing everything subconsciously to push him away, to sabotage the relationship and really just make it really difficult, and even though, and what I mean by difficult is just pretty much blaming him or feeling like blaming him in the sense of where I actually left my business, I left my hometown, left everything that I built up in Texas. And he also was in Texas, but he was going to grad school. While I was pregnant, he decided to go to grad school, and that was a big shift in our dynamic in our relationship and what was going to happen. And I basically up and left so that he could have his relationship with his little baby girl and that we could be together as a family. But then with that came with a lot of resentment, that came with a lot of just expectations that I didn't even know that I was expecting, and hoping that he would be appreciative and also be grateful. There was so many things that I needed to feel or hear to feel like it was validated, which now I know that was the old me that was just really hurt, broken, no trust issue, abandoned, just not the best version of myself. And so there was all this blame on him and me sabotaging the relationship by constantly questioning him and questioning what we're doing and why we're together. And at the end of the day, I decided that I wanted a divorce. I was so unhappy. I was not, I wanted my daughter to see her parents to be happy, whether we were in love together or as friends and as just partners, as co-parents. I wanted my daughter to be in an environment. That was the most important thing for me. Is I want her to know that she is in wherever she's at with her mom, whether she's with her dad, she can see her parents just being happy and alive and not constantly in a state of just not being their best selves. So this is where the big decision for me to, where I asked for a divorce, and I really wanted my daughter to be in that healthy environment, whether it's with us separately, we're not in that relationship feeling forced. And, thankfully we had such an amicable divorce, and the transition was weird and new and didn't know what to expect, but I feel like we did the best that we could. And she is, such a beautiful, sweet girl, and even though it's hard for us to know really what's deep down inside her, I think that we have the capability to really explain when she's ready or if she has questions, and let her know our story of why it is. And I think she does, and things are good. So yeah, that was a big part. Police car in the background. But yeah, so that happened. And separation, we were separated, decided to figure out how to do this. This is new for us, and during that time, I did not want to be in any relationship, divorced. I was like, I want to focus on myself. I want to, be by myself, not, this whole trust issue with men. I was just not ready. And I would say maybe a couple years after divorce, I unexpectedly met my partner, Kian. We were both attending a conference. That was kind of a point in my life where I was just, nothing was working. I felt like everything I would do just really wasn't showing that things were going. Like, I felt like I was a struggling, artist, single mom, and just really doing the best that I could. And I felt like it was just so difficult, like hustling all the time. It's hard when you're a single mom. You need to watch someone to help watch your kid, even though she went to daycare, but like the hours as a hair and makeup artist are just so off in the industry. And so it was really difficult. And even though my ex would help me, like, there was so much guilt that I would carry. So yeah, finding a relationship was the last thing on my mind. And, I met Kian 5 years ago, totally not wanting that relationship. And this is going to be a whole nother episode about that. But, long story short, with Kian, our relationship is probably the hardest relationship that I've been in, but also the most healing, fruitful relationship, especially to face my core wound of abandonment and trust, and to really mirror all the things that I need to see in order to heal. And so our journey has been so messy. It's been so lovely. It's been hard. It's been just a lot of deep stuff. And I am so grateful for all of that, because I am growing, I'm learning, and it's, like I said, it's not fun, it's not easy, but now that I think back, I'm like so proud of him, I'm so proud of myself, and we're just going to continue on this journey, and we just support each other. We love each other so much that we want to see each other at our best, that we're meant to be. And so this journey is me sharing that with you guys, all the raw, vulnerable things that I would never share with anyone. It will be shared throughout these series of me sharing these episodes. So thank you for just like being here and also supporting. And I hope that whatever I share is helpful in whatever way, even if you just feel like knowing that someone else understands what you're going through, or maybe what you're feeling at some point in your life. Like, yeah, I will be sharing a lot, and I can't wait, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It gets brighter and brighter and brighter, even though it's very hard to see that when you're going through it. So thank you so much for watching. I'm like gonna finish my makeup, and I just want to say how grateful I am for you. So that's my story for today. More to come as I unravel. I'm like, I would make these videos longer, but my phone has no memory right now, so I have to cut it short. So just thank you so much, and I love you guys. I'll see you guys in my next episode. Bye.